Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in to Channel Maven podcast. We have a really interesting conversation. I talked to Larry Walsh of the 2112 group. Anyone who is in the channel knows Larry. It's such an interesting time for us, and yet we're really trying to move past just talking about COVID-19 and talking about what life looks like now and how we move forward and how we're successful. Please tune in. If you have any comments or questions, I'd love to hear from you. Heather@channelmaven.com. Larry Walsh, the 2112 group, thank you so much for joining us on the Channel Maven podcast.
Well, I am a captive audience like everybody else.
You didn't have a choice. You're stuck.
I have no place else to go, so sure, why not?
But you're busy. I mean, you are churning out some really incredible research as it's happening, which is so important for us right now in this coronavirus COVID-19 era.
2112 was built for this. This is an environment in which we thrive. I mean, we do research and strategy work all day long, every day, twice on Sunday. But in times like this, we're able to show off what our capabilities are, and because I've struggled for years trying to define what we are, because it doesn't always resonate when you say, well, we solve problems. Things you don't know, we'll go find out.
Right.
Now we're all in the same soup of where we're out at sea without a map or a compass. Now what? And
I think you are totally embracing that, which is nice to see, instead of the ongoing, like, we're in this together and who knows what's going to happen. Like, you're just trying to solve those problems and figure out.
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, there's aside from my daily social affirmation, where I'm just trying to tell people, take a deep breath. Mm-hmm. It's going to be okay. The worst thing we can do is panic. Right. Panic, begets fear, and fear leads to making rash decisions that don't do anyone well. It's hard to say when this will return to something that resembles what we knew back in the beginning of the year. And you and I will talk about that, I'm sure. But we need to be thinking about, how do we preserve what we have? Yes. Every company I know, companies that we worked with, in the first quarter, we're having a tremendous first quarter. They came off a tremendous 2019. And when you hear the people in government say, the economists and the government regulators, and let's put aside what we think of them, but what they say about the economy fundamentally being sound, they're absolutely right. And the biggest challenge we all face is, how do we maintain what is essentially fundamentally sound businesses amid mass and sudden uncertainty? And that's what I've been trying to focus on.
And I think too, I mean, if we decide that this is how we're going to do business, and that we still need to get up and shower and get dressed and get ready every day to have those conversations at a more strategic level, and make sure that we're thinking about what if this is the way things are for the next few months or 18 months? How are we going to shift how we interact with our partners, how we build strategy, how we drive demand, and how we help our partners drive demand?
Well, I think there's a lot of things we're going to learn over the next 3, 6, 9 months. We're learning now. We're learning that I was on the phone with the channel chief on Friday afternoon, and I'm asking really broad questions because I just want to see how people respond. I said, so what's the biggest thing you've learned so far? And there are people who say to me, well, we learned we could do this, or I had to do that. And he looked and he said that we could shut down the economy. And I'm like going, okay, that's interesting. That's your takeaway from this. And that we could actually do this. We can do a lot of things we didn't think were possible.
Right.
And I think that that's going to stimulate a lot of opportunity more so than problems. is that we're suddenly going to be unshackled from our conventional wisdoms, and we're going to be open, sometimes not by choice, but being forced to explore things we never had to do before.
Yeah. And some of that is being okay with this new virtual lifestyle and still feeling like you're making personal connection. It used to be before we would all hop on a video meeting and some people were in video and some people weren't. And now I'm really feeling like the connection, if someone's not on video, I miss that. Like, I feel like I need to see them because I know I'm not getting connection any other way. And in thinking about how we interact with partners and build a program around their needs and our needs as a vendor business, and then also how you help them drive demand to make sure that they have that interaction on a more personal level. They're not going to trade shows. They're not doing big steak dinners. They're not getting out and seeing their customers face to face.
I think it was the Sunday after New York went into lockdown. Mm-hmm. And I was invited onto a group of MSPs were getting together. There was about 50 of them on Zoom, and they asked me to come on and talk to them, which was kind of wild. I'm like going, we can do 50 people on Zoom?
I think I spoke on that 2 weeks later.
Yeah. And it's amazing how many people they're calm. I mean, they're orderly. They're not chaotic. And you would think it would be the absolute opposite, and it's not. But I remember one of the things they brought up, I was talking about, well, here's the current forecast. Here's, what it's going to look like. These are the things you should be doing. And somebody says, wait, we're not going to have events for a while? I said, not for a while. And they said, so we have to buy our own drinks. And to me,
I'm sure you could send them like a beer of the month club if you needed to.
Well, actually, there's a lot of people who are doing that. I was talking with a company, I can't remember their names now, but they're sending lunch to their employees. Yeah, they're sending lunches to their employees. There are people who are doing, there are companies that are doing the virtual happy hours where they're actually sending bottles of wine to their customers to come and join them on these virtual happy hours. There's ways of doing all this. And I mean, look, the ultimate testament of that we can do this, Saturday Night Live did an entire episode on Saturday from home.
I know. I just feel like it was Jimmy Kimmel first, who did like the intro Jimmy Fallon. He did the intro and his like 4-year-old's banging the drum for his intro because he doesn't have his band there. If this is how everyone is having to interact, if Bill Maher is having to do his interviews via Zoom, then I think we can all be okay.
Oh, it's not a matter of being okay. I think one of the things that we're hearing from vendors is portal logins are up, tool utilizations are up, partner contact. They're able to actually have meetings with more partners, not less, and part of it is that they're not traveling, so availability is up. Right. But they're also talking with people within their partner organizations that they usually don't get to speak with.
Well, and still plan and still do strategy around it. So if a vendor is doing a partner advisory council, don't just wing it. Like, you still need to have a plan and a strategy and how you want the conversation to go. If you're training partners how to drive demand, you now need to incorporate video and interaction. We launched a software company February 20th, best date ever. And I thought for sure, like, okay, we'll just have to, sit tight and ride it out. We are slammed with inquiries. So portals and demand gen for partners, now more important than ever. Companies that were saying, oh, we don't invest in a 3-channel marketing automation tool.
Look, we're seeing the same thing at 2112. At first, I'm sitting here like going, well, I get to take a 3-month vacation, because who's going to want to do research in this mess? And we can't keep up with the demand. People are now coming to us. They want to do channel assessments. They want to do coverage mapping. They want competitive intel. The list goes on.
We just sent someone to you because they want to take this time to survey all of their partners and find out what they need.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, It's not what we would have anticipated. I think it's great. I think we're also happy to help. Like, I just want to have conversations with vendors, talking to them about how they should shift, whether they work with Channel Maven and Spark, or they work with 2112 Group, or they just need 30 minutes to brainstorm and have like a what the heck is going on moment.
Well, a lot of them are looking for that. That's a lot of the calls I'm on. Part of it is, oh, you did this research. Tell us more.
Right.
A lot of it's cathartic. And in times like these, people want to know that they're okay. Well, everything's going to be all right. And truth be told, that's every day. I mean, there isn't anyone in the business that we don't know that needs some sort of validation, or they need some reassurance that what they're doing is the right thing to do. So the circumstances are changing. But again, if not to overuse a word, fundamentals, the fundamentals are fairly sound. Now, mind you, me being here in New York, if I go dark for a little while on some people, I suddenly get these texts saying, "Are you okay?" I'm like going, "Yeah, I'm fine. I hermetically sealed my windows. I'm all right." But it's a little stuffy. But we all we, like I said, we're learning a lot of things, and oh my God, the tools that we keep talking about work.
Right.
The collaboration tools work, the data sharing tools work, the communication tools work, the marketing tools work. Oh my God, they all work. And guess what? When we apply them the right way, or maybe even not in the wrong way, but we're applying them aggressively, which is sometimes the case, we're getting a result, which is fantastic.
I also feel like the first week we're in lockdown in Colorado was spring break for CU and the other colleges in the area. The next week, there was overwhelming to our bandwidth that was just unforeseeable. Yep. All of the college kids were on Zoom. My preschoolers were on Zoom. Like, every time, my husband's running his business on Zoom, in meetings. Zoom was having issues, and our Wi-Fi was having issues. And within a week, it's fine. Like, people are still working. They're still figuring those things out. Technology, I think, is more important than ever. And even, good friends of ours own a series of restaurants. We thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be the worst thing. They did a pop-up shop where you can actually buy toilet paper and eggs and everything online, and they pack it in a box and leave it outside for you. So people, I think the ones who are jumping in and ready to innovate and try to pivot, not too much. You don't want to completely pivot to the point where you're unrecognizable, but if you're ready to pivot, then you'll still do well.
I don't disagree. I think that there's certain things that, as I said, we're learning a lot of things. And what I'm learning from the vendors is that they're figuring out that things that they didn't think were possible or theoretical are actually more than possible and work very well. On the partner side, they're beginning to discover the things that they willfully looked past. Oh, I don't need to expand and include that product. Oh, I don't need to hire that technician. I don't need to do a business plan. I don't need to do a sales plan. I don't need marketing. Well, suddenly you need all of the things. The biggest surprise that I say it like it was like a year ago. It was like a week and a half ago, because COVID time.
Time has it's like dog years times 2.
Yeah, no, I mean, today has been the longest week of my life. I was watching a video, which I never do. I never watch videos within our own industry because of, reasons. But I'm watching a video by an MSP, and I know who she is. I won't say who she is, but I was watching it. She's a lovely person, and she's saying to the world, me and my team can solve all of your IT needs. And I'm looking, I go, not even close. Mm-hmm. Not even close. And the MSPs are getting called on to do things that they've never done before, and they're scurrying to make connections with others that can help.
Well, so I'm seeing a lot of that, though, too, the partnering. So you and I have been partnered for quite some time. I'm seeing a lot of the companies that I thought for sure when I launched Spark would be competitors saying, hey, I think the two of us together actually equal a much stronger unit. Let's bring you into the accounts we're already in, and let's figure out how you can help your current customers on the channel maven side with that. So do you feel like you're seeing research on partnering being that much more important, whether it's in the partner community, the vendor community, or the outside, like our greater ecosystem?
Well, look, if we're on a sinking ship and your worst enemy is in the water, are you going to extend a hand or let him drown?
Of course.
And yeah, of course you would extend a hand. I'll let him drown. But
I got you that bracelet, Larry.
yes, everybody watching this, Heather got me a bracelet that says "Be good to people." The truth is that we're looking at it the same way. We've opened up our research to everyone, including our competitors. So when we released, 2112 has been doing a series of rolling research on the impact of the COVID pandemic on the market, on the channel. And when it's available, we send it to everybody, right? Send it to our partners. I send it to our frenemies. I send it to our competitors. I did something that was entirely unnatural to me, is that, again, I won't name names, but there's a company that has been hostile towards 2112. I sent them sales leads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to see them go. It's because, and that's what we should be doing. We should all be doing what we can, and sometimes it may feel unnatural, but these are extraordinary times, and we have no time for pettiness.
Everyone is in the same boat. Like, no one is. This pandemic does not see race or creed or color or anything, socioeconomic status, and I feel like we. Certainly we're in a different place in technology, and that we still have, we're not laying off our entire team. We're still able to generate business and produce a healthy economy for our clients and our teams.
But immediately, like if you look on the partner side, there was a group of partners who got together because they recognized that they couldn't do this alone.
Right.
That they were well equipped to service their customers the way they always have, but not under these circumstances. So they created a network so that they know, okay, and initially this was the reason for it. It wasn't because it was to cover skills gaps, is that they were afraid that if somebody got sick, they wouldn't have anybody to service the customer.
Yeah, that's
and
huge.
It became a backup. Now it's becoming like, okay, well, you got a guy who can do these APIs. Great. I got a guy who can do, and so now they're sharing those resources.
Well, and you just want bandwidth to be taken up, right? Like if you have somebody 40 hours a week and you only have 28 hours worth of work for them right now, you just want to be able to fill their bandwidth.
Yeah, we're all, like I said, but I think the important thing, so this is what I've been calling beyond the curve.
Yeah.
So the entire goal of all this social distancing has been to flatten the curve. And, here in New York, they say we've plateaued and we're going to be starting to go down, which is a good thing. And we never, we stressed the system, but we didn't exceed or crush it. Right.
Yeah.
And we're going to see that. That's going to wash over the rest of the country. And hopefully by May or June, we're going to start easing up. But I've been saying is that we got to think beyond the curve.
Mm-hmm.
And what comes next. The numbers are absolutely staggering. I've been doing this for a long time. I've never seen economic data like this in my life. And as deep as that trench goes, on what this downturn is going to be, right now the last number I saw was 35% contraction in Q2 on an annualized basis. I mean, which is monstrous.
Yeah.
But you're also seeing 19% rocket coming out in late Q3, Q4. So that's what I'm saying, is that we have to make sure that we are positioned for what comes next, and that we have the capacity, both in terms of the human resources as well as the technical resources and the relationships, in order to capture onto that. And that applies to the vendors, it applies to distributors, it applies to the partners.
Well, and do you and I have talked about, this isn't 3 more months. This is going to affect business travel and the way we've done business in the past, at least for the next 18 months, if not beyond. All of those vendors and partners who have said over the years, I don't have time to build a strategy. I don't have time to do demand gen. I don't have time to change the way that we sell and to retrain our salespeople and partners. I think right now we're all in emergency mode and are just working super fast. But in a few weeks, when things slow down, that's when they should be taking those steps. Okay, now we have time to train our sales teams and our partners. Now we have time to reinvent our strategy.
Or get one.
Right.
I don't mean to sound facetious in saying that, but I mean, it's true, is that we have data that shows that 48% of partners don't, 47, 48, it doesn't matter, it's close to half, will outright say they don't have a business plan. Guess what SBA is looking for, or what banks are looking for if you want money, to help out during this? They want to see your business plan.
Right.
57%, I'm trying to think of, I think it's like 57% don't have sales plans or revenue goals.
Right.
Well, guess what you kind of need to know? I've heard so many partners say that, trying to apply for the government assistance here in the U.S. I can't speak for Canada or the rest of the world, but here in the U.S., that it's so confusing and they want all this information. I'm like going, oh, you mean the information it takes to run a business?
Right.
The numbers that you should be able to rattle off the top of your head at any given moment. Yeah, they kind of want that.
Yeah.
Because, and so this is a wake-up call to, all those paycheck partners.
Right.
That they have to do more. Now, it's also a wake-up call to the vendors, because I am deeply involved in the channel strategy that was already in progress for a few vendors.
Yeah.
And what the advice I give, restructure your program, reset your tiers, put these new resources in, all the check boxes. You have to change behaviors. So how do you incorporate behavior into your strategy? And that is an absolute imperative now, because we can't go backwards. There is no going back. And should I say it now? Can I say it now?
You can say it.
Okay. There is no new normal.
This is normal. Like this
is normal. Well, it's not. We're not living in normalcy. Right. But everything we have to do is still normal.
But it's so interesting when I'm talking to people, and this could be a client or a partner or just like a neighbor. The people who are like, yep, we're making it work, are the ones that I think, okay, I live in Boulder, I'm going to get a little woo-woo on you. Like, having that positive mindset is going to benefit you for the ongoing future. The people who are like day 23 in quarantine, and like, I can't speak, I have it so great from a quarantine perspective. We have live-in childcare. So my 2 and 4 year olds are not knocking down my door until at least 4:45. That's when I get the knock, and I know that the work day is over until they go to bed. I think people need to think positively on the business side too.
One question before I give you my perspective. In Boulder, does woo-woo come in plastic bags, or do they actually have more like a container?
Not plastic bags, because that's not eco-friendly. It's actually a compostable bag that you can use for your
I thought so.
vegetables.
Yeah, because it's a lovely smell in the air in Boulder. No, there's certain things we need to do. The vendors need to do things a little bit differently. We still need product. Yeah. The customers still need product. They still need services. Therefore, they need to start. The vendors can help the partners by doing things like extending payment terms, helping facilitate lines of credit, releasing capacity blocks on services on either cloud or managed services, or allows some license transfers to go on without penalties. These are things that will help the partner stay afloat. It's also things that will allow the partner to be flexible with their customer. We caught wind of this last week before, again, COVID time. Yeah. But that somebody was running around telling partners to lower their prices 30%. And we went out and said, that is absolutely not. Do not lower your prices. Be creative in your packaging. Be creative in your discounting, allow them to downgrade services or maybe adjust what they're doing with you, but please don't expose your margins. Don't do things that are just going to come back and bite you, because, and people said, no, the customers will forgive you. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of goodwill not being reciprocated by the customer. Why? Because the customer has to think, the customer has fiduciary responsibilities themselves.
Right.
So
Well,
once
and I
they
think
learn,
it's okay to get creative on financing
yeah,
options,
yeah,
and make sure that people see it as a more long-term spend. But no, I would agree. I think there are ways to endear yourselves to your customers, which equal more services or just checking in with them and making sure they're okay. But when it comes to the technology, you still have to show the value.
oh, absolutely. We have a client, again, can't say who, much like you, they recently launched a product in the middle of this mess, and they came to us after the fact saying, okay, now we need a route to market strategy.
Oops.
No problem. Look, we'll do it. And we do these things, but you have to, now you have to think about this, and we're going to be, because they came to us and they said, well, we're thinking this. I said, okay, we'll take you through our process. We have a process for doing this. I will tell you that it will probably not look what you think it looks like.
Larry, tell me if people want to get in touch with you, not that they don't know where you are because you're Larry Walsh. What's the best way? I see your website behind you. Anything else they should think about to try to, yeah. I would also follow you on Twitter. Your morning updates. I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, Boulder time, and you're already posting today you'll hear a lot about.
Yeah. And I have to do that. I started it because I was frustrated with the bickering and the complaining and the whataboutisms, and I was like, okay, people, just realize that you're going to hear this today. Take a deep breath. Don't overreact.
Well, and you're also a journalist at heart. Like, you started your career as a journalist. It comes through in your social.
No, thanks. Journalism ain't what it used to be.
Nothing is, Larry. That's what we just talked about for 35 minutes.
It is. I guess that is the new normal. But
Hold on.
Yes. No, so if people want to get a hold of me, they can reach out to me. I answer every email I get, lmwalsh@the2112group.com. You can get to me through my team, info@the2112group.com. Everybody on my team gets that email.
Awesome.
And you also find me on all the socials, because, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and now Instagram, because that's where they are.
Look at you.
Yeah. You get to see my pictures when I'm out walking around the neighborhood.
Larry, thank you so much for joining. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. I know content is at an all-time high and information is super important right now. So if you need anything from us, I can be reached at heather@channelmaven.com or heather@sparkyourchannel.com. And we will talk to you soon. Thanks for joining, Larry.
Thanks, Heather.